There it is. Hello. You can hear me. There it is. Yeah, they were telling a story. So you're not early. We're just very, very late. Very late. But we're here now. Yeah, now I need to fix you guys. 1 second. For some reason, it just glitched out. Apparently your sound devices bracket 0.0.0.0. There we go. One moment, you guys should come through here any second. There you go.
I saw a TikTok the other day talking about the fact that if you find a food lion, there will be a Chinese store beside it in North Carolina, which I feel like is accurate.
Yeah, I just checked. There's a hibachi place right next to the the food lion next to where Austin's working at.
Wait, they just dox Austin.
Whoa, wait, what?
That place you said you were working at?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a food lion, right? And
Yeah, there's food lion right there.
Place right next to it.
If someone gifts a sub right now, I'll give you Austin's address.
Oh my god, you're right. It's literally right there. Oh my god, I can go to the hibachi place for lunch. Hell yeah.
Also an axe throwing. You can throw an axe.
I gotta tell Abigail that because she doesn't know that. Hang on, hold on. just gonna text her. Hey, by the way, there's an axe throwing place next to my job.
I've never been axe throwing.
Abigail's been axe throwing. She went without me, and I'm very sad about it.
I've seen those axes
so
bounce
cathartic.
back.
I've seen those.
Don't tell
I've
me
never
that.
seen it hit. Yeah,
What?
Don't tell me that.
I've shed enough blood while drinking. I think perhaps going forward, it might not be in the stars.
It's never stopped you before.
Don't tempt me.
Hey, you remember that time when I used to live at the post office? Anyway,
I guess we were muted when I said this. Hi, my name is Logan, never suggesting the internet, and I'm here to play D&D with my friends. And I moved my webcam to the opposite monitor, so I'm going to be very confused looking back and forth most of the time.
I thought there was something.
Yeah, it's a little bit closer, so I'm not as small in my frame. And you can see my little practicing guitar setup on one side. You can see my leopard gecko on the other side. You can see my DM screen and all the secrets to Icewind Dale on this side.
nice.
Why it's blurred, it's censored.
Gonna CSI enhance that shit.
Zoom in. Zoom
I
in.
will know all of your secrets.
Man, I guess we're just gonna jump right into it. Does that work for everyone else?
Sure.
So, recap. I guess I should flip over to the other screen. I never actually set up your little shingamabobs. So I need to set up those. I need to put mine up here. In the meantime, you guys trekked your way across Icewind Dale, searching for a missing ore shipment. You found the site of the Yeti attack where the ore shipment was last seen. However, the ore shipment was gone, and you saw what direction it head quickly with all of your dogs in tow. Yeah. By the way, Travis, did you ever name your dog? I remember you saying that you had a name for it. That was a familiar name that we all know. Oh, I think you're muted.
You're muted.
I see your mouth moving.
Yeah. No, I didn't name it. I had COVID, so that's
your brain stopped working.
My brain did indeed stop working. I don't know if you know what it's like.
Wait, you had COVID for the whole month since the last time we played Travis?
2 weeks. When's the last time we played before that?
It's been like 3 weeks.
Has it been 3 weeks?
Yes.
Anyway, yeah, cough, so we pity you.
I'm just kidding, Travis.
Yeah, you're fine, man. I just remember you saying that you thought about naming it Louis.
Oh, I did think about that. I thought about it. You see me thinking about it?
I see you thinking
Even
about
for
it.
you, that's
pretty bad. Anyway, so
what do you mean, even for you?
Even with your dog sled, you guys made your way across Icewind Dale, coming across all sorts of other scenes of attacks of people being attacked by potentially other scavengers or animals, or just getting caught out in the cold and dying, getting separated in a blizzard, whatever it might have been, until eventually you came upon the sled being pulled by goblins, of all things, or at least goblin-sized creatures yelling in goblin tongue and goblin accent. Yeah, it definitely sucks, and I think, yeah, people underestimate how bad it sucks, especially now. You found the sled being pulled by goblins, being patrolled by wolves, and taking them, which you can see on Albert Rodeo, and what I will put up on the screen. They are leading, oh no, it's a little small, pulling it over toward a massive makeshift wagon built out of all variety of animal parts and scavenged driftwood, being pulled by very disgruntled polar bears. So,
That's some big
As
dogs.
opposed to gruntled.
yeah, they are not gruntled at all. So at this point, we will assume you guys dismount from your dog sled. Wynn will take your dog sled to the side to keep them safe, and that's what Wynn's doing. So at this point, as you see the goblins pulling this massive heavy sled of iron ore being patrolled by these wolves, you have two choices. You can either immediately approach and make yourselves known, or you can attempt to hide and bide yourself a little time behind some rocks. Even though the goblins are preoccupied and probably won't be able to hear you, the wolves will definitely be able to smell you on the wind. So even if the goblins won't notice you, the wolves probably will, unless you do a great job of hiding. So it's up to you guys whether you want to make yourselves known or try to take cover.
What time of day is it?
Morning-ish, it's dim, you know. The sun doesn't rise, so of course it's kind of like twilight grayish hours all the time.
Is there a light source on the carriage? Their carriage?
Yes, it seems as though they have some kind of like torches or lanterns lit over there, and then the goblins themselves also have some torches with them.
Cool. How far away are we?
At this point, about 120-ish, 130-ish feet.
Okay. Is it breezy?
It's always breezy.
Oh, okay. Can we use that to our advantage? Like, be up, what's it? Yeah, upwind of them?
Downwind?
Down, yeah. Yeah.
You would have to like fully get to the other side of them to do that.
Okay.
Is it dark enough for my Gloomstalker feature to count?
What's the language of your Gloomstalker feature? And I will consult the whole.
While in darkness, you are invisible to any creature that relies on dark vision to see you in that darkness.
I do not believe it's darkness. I think basically at all times it's dim light during the day.
Okay, that's fair.
I will use a
'Cause
bonus
otherwise I would be
action.
Fucked all the time.
I will use a bonus action to summon my bonded hammer.
That you threw in a trash can back in East Haven.
Yeah.
So it'll be here in, like 100 rounds.
You sense a bit of resistance in the ether as it probably fights against some trash heap, some rubbish pile somewhere in East Haven.
Particularly large rat.
Is it teleporting to me, or does it like?
When you start to
move
feel
straight
that
line?
resistance, it all of a sudden just appears in your hand.
Sweet. Is it clean?
There is a single banana peel hanging off of it.
Magic.
There are no bananas in Icewind Dale. You have no idea where that peel came from.
A king had hold of this.
I hold on to the banana peel
Yep.
as a wonder of the wastes.
Yes.
What the hell is that?
It's a Carson, say banana as Casimir.
Banana?
Yeah, and then say peel,
Wheel.
and then banana peel.
Banana peel?
Flashback to Casimir wearing
Yeah.
Minions pajamas for the Christmas one.
Yeah,
I
if you want-
forgot about that.
Oh my god.
You want to strip my banana peel?
Okay, are you guys gonna make yourselves known, or are you gonna stealth?
Of these strange orange gods.
Sneaky sneak.
Got one
Maybe.
for sneaky sneak. Everyone make a stealth check for me.
Oh shit, I gotta take my dice out, don't I?
At least 3 of you have to succeed.
I have chainmail.
Ooh, about one of the best rolls I could get, a 16.
A 19 for me.
And 8.
Rad.
You say
Stealth?
7?
9.
I got a 17.
Oh, 17.
Oh.
So you all, and I will show you where you are on the map in a second. You all crowd behind a boulder, getting pretty close, pretty friendly with one another, trying to take cover from the wind, get out of line of sight from the wolves and the goblins. And a moment passes, the wind kind of whistling past you, but a snow flurries coming up off the ground. And you hear "Woo!" of the wolves start to howl back and forth until all of them are howling. And then you hear goblins start to yell. Does anyone know Goblin? Really?
He's a hobgoblin.
Racist. He's a bugbear.
Oh, bugbear, sorry. You're right. I don't know why I thought that for a minute.
So Carson, you know Goblin? So, they yell out. I'm not going to bother with actually saying the Goblin because you know what they mean immediately. Scavengers! Scavengers! 2 arms! And peeking around the rock, they all start taking cover with their bows. They don't let loose. Instead, they yell out in common, stay away! And then they say scavengers in Goblin. Dulak! Finders keepers!
How many of them are there?
Pulling the little sled of ore, there are 6 of them who have now taken cover behind rocks, and then the wolves are all kind of stopped, hackles raised, ready to run.
You're muted.
How long was that happening? I speak up in Goblin, and I call out to them just like, hold your arrows. No need for bloodshed.
In Goblin, they yell back. Who are you?
Who are you?
We asked first!
I asked second.
You... Make a perception check for me.
Sure.
First, I asked for
Okay. Perception. That is a 22.
So, because they've all taken cover behind separate rocks, boulders, and then the sled, they kind of have to yell to each other to communicate. You hear the one that you were yelling to say, 2 is bigger than 1. He's got a point.
I nod solemnly.
Yells back, my name is Morksy. Now who are you?
Is this still in Goblin?
Yeah.
Okay.
Name's Casimir. What business do you have in this place?
Scavenging, searching for things. Supplies, food.
And what have you found this time?
Grumble, mumble to one another. Iron. Found it on some dead dwarves. Finders keepers.
I'll look back to the others, and I relate what they've said, and go, how do we want to handle this?
How far away are we now?
Still about 120-ish feet.
Okay.
That's how far they are from us.
Yeah.
Good.
You sound like you're about to do something.
No, I said no. You go ahead.
Okay. I was just gonna say, they haven't tried attacking us yet. As much as I would like to fight, we don't have to. They seem to be talking to you just fine. Maybe we can talk them into giving the iron over.
You know, Goblin. Don't have too much. Mountain folk-ish, wandering people. So yeah. So Casimir, I'll say Norm and Gil. The three of you, if you'll make a history check for me. I know that's a big ask of you three.
Yeah. Oh, it was almost an
Well, I never.
I know. I appreciate that. Like the three people who are like, well, four people who are the most native to Icewind Dale are not the brightest. I mean,
Nat 20.
History?
I literally.
I kid you not.
It bounced
It's a
off
plus
of the
0.
It bounced off the nat 20 and onto a 2, so that's a 1.
You gave me your Nat 20, and I thank you for that.
wait, what'd you get, Alan?
I also got a 2.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
the 2 crew.
So this is perfect.
Yeah, that's-
Casimir, you know, you not maybe the most tied into goblinoid and culture and the tribes and everything around here.
I imagine I just learned all the various languages I did just through kind of, trade, more interaction with others in my youth, whatnot.
And goblins don't tend to venture out this far. They mostly stick. I can show you on a map here real quick. Like looking at Icewind Dale, the straight up the tin trail that leads south outward out of Icewind Dale, and then the trail leading all the way up to where it eventually meets 10 towns. That's the goblins' normal ambushing and scavenging routes. But you're northeast of Bryn Shander. You're way up out of their normal stomping grounds. So they're pretty out of the way, which, that can mean a host of things. But, given typical goblin scavenging fashion, they're probably not out here looking for something specific. They literally just picked up a sled of iron, so it seems as though they may be desperate if they're reaching out this far. So they're probably in need, just like most people in 10 towns in all of Icewind Dale. Alan?
I want to approach the goblins. And I take out something.
You reveal yourself.
And I have my hands out, peaceful, like.
They start yelling goblin, essentially equivalent of, words like cow and bovine and bull and things like that.
I take out an index card. Some of you may remember this index card. And I read, "Hello, 10 townsmen, women, folk, and/or Dale-ians I am Norm of the nearby Yak Village. And this whole time I'm walking. Yeah, of the nearby Yak Village. Yak Village. Please do not fear me. My appearance may be assuming and frightening for you, but it is every day for me. I'm coming in peace. I am an ambassador and representative of Yak Village, otherwise known as the Y. Sent here on a mission of exploration and diplomacy. How are things? You may respond. And I very carefully and neatly tuck the index card back in my index card folder.
Boy, Norm sure does know how to yik yak.
Boo! The goblins boo in unison. I think,
Oh,
Alan, if you keep up this bit until the end of the campaign, I promise you that by our last session, when you say "I'm coming" in peace, it will still make me laugh. Even by the end of the campaign.
it's the ever so slight
Ambassador.
pause.
It's an almost imperceptible pause. It's beautiful every time.
It's the same thing where you hit the little pause in the middle of ambassador. I'm just like,
Yeah, ambassador.
please.
Holy God. What would goblins do with that information? Go ahead, make a persuasion check for me, Alan.
Alright.
Just that, what would goblins do with that information? Great question.
15?
Wow, look at you. So that, sort of a signature, wagon pulled by the polar bears. You look up as another goblin. At this distance, you're like 250 feet away from that wagon, but you can see a goblin form step up to the top of that wagon. And then you see them hold up an arm, and a bird takes flight, or some kind of bird creature takes flight and circles over the entire area, kind of observing.
Yeah.
And all the goblins are mumbling to one another, trying to figure out what's happening.
I keep walking.
You get about halfway there, we'll say. So we'll call it 60 feet.
Okay.
And they all kind of draw their arrows, stand up, kind of peek over. And you see another goblin speak up. This one a little bit smaller. Says, "All right, fine. What do you want? What do you want? Why are you harassing us?"
I am an ambassador and representative
Of the Yak Village. We heard. Now, what do you want? Why are you here? We're not joining no Yak Village.
Yeah. I'd be doing a bad job if I was still in Yak Village.
No, wait. And they start mumbling to one another. Why are you here?
To ask, why are you here? Friend,
Scavenging.
did you find anything?
Iron. You just told Casimir.
Can I touch it?
No.
I'm a blacksmith.
Cool. You hear, "I like to cook." I'm like, great.
I like to admire iron.
Casimir, do you
Get your
do
own.
you want to help him out?
I just take my two massive arms, look at you, and just go.
Do any of us want to help him out?
No.
I have to be
yeah,
honest, I was really enjoying this.
Norm, Alan, make a perception. I'll give you the choice: perception, insight, or investigation.
Investigation. Plus 16.
It's hard to... the goblins specifically, they're very well covered in a variety of scavenged pelts and armor, coats, warm weather clothes. So the most things you can see about these goblins are like kind of beaked noses poking out between scarf and hat, and then their ears coming out on either side. Besides that, they just look like little bundles of clothes, basically, walking around in the snow. But you do notice that the wolves and the polar bears both are smaller than they should be. They're thinner, you can see a bit of their ribs, their skin is hanging a bit looser because they've lost a lot of weight. So clearly they're either abusing these animals or they don't have the supplies to take care of them. And so you immediately see that they're a little not underfunded, but just under supported. Yeah.
So I know from my random knowledge that generally with dog sleds, usually by the end of a dog sledding trip, none of the dogs really survive. So if the animals that are carrying this thing are at this point in starvation, they're coming towards the end of their trip. Is it safe to assume so
The
here?
goblin, and this is a weird thing, and Norm would probably not understand this. The goblins are the one pulling the sled of iron for some reason or another. The wolves are doing the patrolling and the guarding. The polar bears are the ones pulling the leading wagon, main big wagon. But the polar bears are easily just as malnourished and angry looking.
Do you want to travel together? We have food. Zzz.
You have food?
Zzz.
Zzz.
Foods.
How much food?
I turn around. How much food do we got?
You don't lie. We know if you're lying.
Why? What is happening?
Gil is gonna start walking towards where Norm is, and he's just gonna kind of like as he's going to walk up, he's just gonna look at him and go,
Whoa, hey, who are you? Who are you?
"I am Gil."
Okay, Gil, I'm Milk. And the little tiny goblin that was talking to Norm
Milk?
raises their hand. Milk, yes, Milk.
Nice,
Okay.
nice to meet you, Milk. I'm going to come over there to talk, make it easier to talk, as I'm obviously shouting at them. So I don't have to shout as much at you.
Okay.
And I'm gonna turn to the rest of the party and be like, I'm just going to go help him so that we can get this over with.
I was kind of enjoying this. What was the purpose of this again? I don't even remember.
We are trying to get the iron back. That's what the
Oh,
purpose is. It's the
so
whole
we
reason
are
we
kind of
hide all this.
scavengers. I mean, we can go
We're
talk.
not necessarily scavengers. We're retrieving something that we already knew about, not scavenging something found. So, just potato. And I'm gonna start walking over towards Norm, so that I don't have to shout.
And
He
you
said
see
it-
that they all had their bows drawn, and they all kind of, after talking to Norm and saying Gil walk up, they all kind of trained their bows more on Gil, kind of not seeing Norm as much of a threat anymore, and they turned to Gil.
Big fucking
Yeah.
jackass mountain man. Yeah.
I go to Gil, or I turn to Gil, assuming he might not have heard. Go like, he said his name is Milk.
Yes.
Like-
Yes. I heard that his name is Milk.
Representative Harvey Milk.
As a question, I'm just gonna be asked. I'm just gonna ask them. I'm gonna walk up and say,
Wait, who are you?
"Hey, my name's Louie.
Louis, I'm Milk. Nice to meet
Hey,
you.
Milk. Nice to meet
Like
you. Milk."
Harvey Milk.
No, my name's not Harvey, it's just Milk.
Yeah, but milk like Harvey Milk.
Yeah, my name's not Harvey.
What's your other name?
Really, not a surname. They all kind of like mumble.
Goblin's having an existential crisis.
And spins around and says, "I am Milk of Karkalok."
Car clock?
Karkalok.
Where's Karklok?
Wouldn't you like to know?
It's
Yeah, I
probably
was
not-
kind of asking you for. Why would I? Kinda. Okay. Well, I was just. See, the thing is, I would like
I'm Milk of Parking Lot.
Parking lot milk. Woohoo! If we get a goblin friend and his name is
Parking Lot Milk. We've all seen Parking Lot Milk, you know. You're walking around the Walmart parking lot, you see a little carton of milk, Parking Lot Milk.
Like it like fell out and it exploded, so they just
exactly.
left it there.
A little bit of parking lot. Or, you know, someone was walking around with their infant and who was drinking milk and they threw up the milk in the parking lot milk.
Oh,
It's next to
Not to be confused with their sibling Parking Lot MILF. They're a totally different person.
It's nice
I
to
hate
meet you.
this.
I would like to possibly trade with you for that iron.
Trade? What do you have to trade?
I got this
Louis?
bag.
You have this bag?
I got a bag.
A bag of what?
A bag of tricks.
Bag of tricks? And we don't like tricks. Well, I mean, we kind of do. And they start
Ew.
whispering to one another.
It does mysterious things.
Like what?
Like, yeah, like what? Norm turns around like, what?
I give a side eye to Norm from in front. I'm just saying, it will produce a meal for you.
Oh, Travis, I see what you're doing.
That's such a terrible way to put
Yeah,
that.
that's a terrible way to put it. And I mean, I guess you're not lying, but you're definitely, it's not the truth.
God.
Kind of.
But it only produces it a couple times, but it's a pretty hearty meal.
So Travis, go ahead and first make an insight check for me.
Inside. Okay, that's gonna be a 16.
You can tell that bringing up food definitely hit a point, hit a nerve. They start glancing at each other. They start mumbling a little bit more. You definitely hit the nail on the head with bringing up something a little more necessary than like iron. And so talking about food, they start mumbling. A couple meals. Alright, and trade for what? The iron?
The iron, yeah.
Just
This
the
will
iron.
produce- yes, just the iron. This will produce 3 meals a day.
Only like one for each of us?
It's a lot of food in each meal.
They start mumbling to one another, looking at you, looking at the people who've walked up. Go ahead and make your, I guess, persuasion check or deception, whichever.
It's the same for me.
Sure,
So.
sure. You got some inspiration, you can use it.
Do I have inspiration? I don't even know. Do we have an inspiration per day? I never remember. Can't remember the rules.
No, it's just if you're either inspired or not, depending
Okay.
on
Okay.
etc.
Well, that's a 15. I rolled a 5, so.
They mumble and whisper. Throw in.
You know, we fed like a tenth of the town.
They ignoring whatever Norm just said for a second. They mumble very briefly and then say, throw in 3 blankets, 3 bedrolls, and knife.
How about 20 gold?
They start looking at, so it's been Louis, Norm, and Gil who have walked up. Casimir, did you walk up too?
You're muted.
I saw the nod, so I assume.
Jesus. Was I muted that entire time?
Probably.
You were,
Yep,
yeah.
I
sure.
walked up.
Oh, you walked up. Perfect. Rip. They look and say, do one of you tall people have a,
I raised my hand.
yeah, do you have a long coat?
Actually, I
a
do.
long coat?
20 gold and a long coat.
Well, to be more accurate, it is not a coat, it's a large cloak. A me-sized cloak. Would that work?
They mumble. Yeah, that'll
Okay,
work.
give me-
That'll work.
Okay.
Okay.
So I take the cloak off my back.
And they all start to lower their bows. A couple of them hesitate and keep their bows raised a bit. Milk lowers his bow, steps forward, and says, "Okay, we pulled this sled a really long way, and it's really heavy. So if you guys could come meet us, we don't want to move it again. It's
that's
at
fine.
least 50 pounds. It's awful."
That's fine.
Sure.
That's fine. Yeah.
So you guys go to meet and do your trade, and immediately, once the cloak is handed off, they start practicing doing multiple goblins in a trench coat routine, so that way they can go into town and trade with that gold that Louis gives them. They start practicing, and Milk climbs on someone's shoulder and says, "Hello, my name is Mr. Milk, and I am here to purchase food." And they start just
Mr. Carclock.
Esquire.
And
Don't sell yourself short.
Emperor Milk.
Okay, maybe we should do a little eye on that one. God King Milk.
oh no.
Of the Imperium.
And
The
then
Emperor protects.
so they take gold from Louis, 20 gold.
Okay.
And I give them my hand-stitched cloak.
They take cloak, hand-stitched cloak, and they let you. They keep the wolves pushed off to the side, and the wolves are just starving, ready to just go at you. And you go to investigate the sled, and they said it's like 50 pounds. Gil, you are big and strong, and Casimir, you are also big and strong. It's a sturdy sled made for pulling metal.
Oh.
There's a lot of metal on this. Total sled plus metal weighs 900 pounds. Now, Beyonce, do your calculations for your, because I know Gil, you get like double the amount. You're a size
Yes, I do.
larger, so you are probably fine. But for a couple goblins, yeah, that's a big move.
I also count as one size larger.
Then you guys will be
Oh my
fine if you're
fucking
pulling it.
God.
So yeah, you'll be fine.
And
Just,
we're both 18 strength? Oh yeah, we
You're
can move like
fine.
1,000 pounds each.
the fact that the goblins pulled it that far is kind of impressive.
I asked Milk in Goblin, why did you want a knife?
Kind of cuts his eyes. Gets you to bend down. Whisper in your ear.
Yeah, I have to like go on my knees.
Yeah. I lost mine.
I surreptitiously reach, grab. I have in my inventory dull knife, and I just kind of like slip it to him. Just needs a little sharpening.
gives you one of those like winks and a nod, like he knows what's going on, but he definitely didn't notice you doing that and doesn't understand what you mean by it needs a little sharpening. So he just gives you like a little wink and nod, like he understands, and then
I turn to the group and
What
I'm
a
like,
poser.
I actually kind of feel bad. I kind of keep this bag of tricks now.
you notice that you give them the gold, they get the cloak, and they're done. They're distracted. They
Okay.
don't remember the bag of tricks. They got sidetracked on the gold and the cloak.
Cool. So I say,
You start to do like little gestures, little cutting of your eyes, fingers.
I
Um,
go up to the milkman and I give him a great big hug and say goodbye, friends.
give him a hug.
get squeezed. And all the while, a little sort of cloaked by shadows, cloaked by rocks, another goblin sort of joins this group. A one-eared goblin, wearing much nicer armor, carrying nicer weapons, and a bit more haggard, grizzled, walks up. Female presenting goblin and says, in Goblin, so only Casimir understands, basically says, "What the fuck is going on here?"
That must be sour cream.
Let's get. And I motion for the group to start getting the fuck out of here.
I look towards Milk, kind of expect.
Expectedly, why?
Milk in Goblin turns and refers to this one-eared goblin as Izobai, saying, "We made a trade, Izobai. They gave us gold, gave us a cloak, so we can go into town and buy food. I mean, we weren't gonna really use too much of this iron immediately. We need food more." And starts to persuade Izobai, sort of hesitates. Walks up, and then in common, "Kind trade. Why? Not much kindness out here these times."
I mean, you wanted iron. We wanted iron. You wanted it for a reason, so I mean, why not?
There's no point in fighting if we don't have to. I mean, we came up and no one shot at us first, so.
No blood needs to be spilled. Continue onward.
I am
Find some
an
food for you and your beasts.
representative of Yak Village, sent here on a mission of exploration and diplomacy.
You know what, Norm? Why don't we just get a bunch of those printed out in various languages, so you don't have to read it out every time?
Just hand them out, I guess.
But it's tiny.
Well, I mean, you're reading it.
Can you read it?
No, not yet.
I mean, essentially, but yeah,
I'm working on it.
it's I mean, yeah, this is a violent place, but it doesn't have to be. We're all kind of it sucks for everyone. Goblins, humans, Goliaths, all of us.
If I say in Goblin, I say, you and your companions are further afield from normal. Times harsher up north than they were.
You see Izobai kind of glances to her companions, and Gil, you made a good point, and Casimir, you made a good point. So one of you make a persuasion check at at advantage. Whoever wants to
Gil.
roll. Okay, whoever wants to
Heard
roll
that.
the dice.
Better modify our worst dice rolls. We'll see what wins.
It equals out.
Same.
It might equal out. That's a 17.
Hell yeah.
The first roll would have been an 11.
Dude, I got a -1. That's probably better than what I would have gotten.
So Izobai in common speaks to you all and says, "We're from our home is Karkalak, to the south, in the mountains, along the road. And Casimir, strangely, Karkalak is not a goblin word. Normally, goblins will name their tribes and settlements after it represents something about the place. Karkalak is not a goblin word. It doesn't translate to anything. I'm just gonna have to go around. Gil, what languages do you know?
Giant in common.
Ventus, what languages do you know?
I know Common, Elvish, I think, and whatever air the elemental
primordial
one.
or
Yeah,
whatever.
primordial. Yeah.
Travis, what languages do you know?
Common, Undercommon, Dwarvish, and is Dark Elf language? I don't know.
No.
Undercommon?
Yes, it's
Elvish, I
Undercommon.
suppose.
Yeah, Elvish and Undercommon. Okay, Norm, what languages do you know?
Common, Minotaur, Giant.
Okay, so none of you know the origin of Karkalak, but regardless, Izobai offers and just says, yeah, if you find yourself down that way, you're kind scavengers, so you're welcome. Times are tough, as you said, so if you feel some more kindness stirring in your hearts, then you can turn it a goblin's way. So these greedy, selfish 10-towners.
Okay.
We'll keep that in mind. And just as I guess we're going apart, I say in Goblin, like, keep well, and may your path take you somewhere warm. And I just hitch myself to the sled and start pulling.
Start pulling. Okay. So, parting from the goblins, Zobai, Morksy, Milk, and all of their companions.
I love gobos.
That's like mine and Rachel's favorite hobby is coming up with like goblin names.
I always like, yeah, grin grab.
So my normal like home game, Ian, who officiated my wedding, he's sort of finishing up his semester and he's getting super busy, and he also just got a girlfriend, so he's especially busy. And so until the summer, we're kind of taking a break from our normal big campaign, and Drew's running a couple session thing for us, and Rachel made a goblin whose name is Pat's Pockets. A soul knife rogue, and it's awesome.
Incredible.
I would like to take this time to say that my personal favorite goblin name is still Dutch.
That's a good one. That's classic.
Thank you.
Dutch.
I'm Dutch.
I played a goblin in one of Andrew's one shots named Scrimshaw.
I
And I
remember.
liked it,
Yeah,
too.
I feel like I remember Scrimshaw, or at least hearing about.
Oh, isn't that the one
Scrimshaw.
where we did the all goblins party?
Yep. Oops, all goblins.
Oh my god, what was my character's name? Because it was like, it sounded like a normal word, but then I was like, we're gonna spell this as atrociously as possible.
That's what you got to do.
Oh my god.
Switch all the vowels, add extra silent letters. You got to make it fucked up.
Scrimshaw and Dutch Thornbriar.
Dutch. I love
I'm
Dutch.
Dutch.
Though I just remember you like. I don't even remember anything of how you describe Dutch. I just remember hearing the words like goblin gunslinger, and I was like, I'm sold. That's all I need to hear.
Well, the first time I did it, I described this like, very cool cowboy, whatnot, and then at the very end, I bookended it by being like, standing at 3.5 feet tall,
Yeah.
with mottled green skin.
So you guys, you have 2 rangers in your party. A bunch of outlanders, and people who can cast Goodberry, right?
Yep.
So this is going to be effectively nothing in the grand scheme of things, but for the sake of a building up story, you notice that Izobai and Milk and as all the goblins, as they approach the big wagon pulled by polar bears, when they get close to the polar bears snap at them and roar and get angry, and they immediately start like whacking at them with stuff and trying to calm them down because the polar bears seem hungry.
I'm gonna. Damn. Do we have rations, right?
Yeah,
Actually-
plenty.
I'm gonna walk up to them and give them a day's worth of rations. I'm gonna cast Goodberry and produce a couple good berries. And I'm gonna try, while they're distracted with the polar bears, to pull out an animal from the bag of tricks.
So first thing, Travis, roll a d20 for me.
D20. Okay.
This will be one of the this will be Milk's animal handling check as he goes to feed one of the polar bears.
That's a 9.
Uh-oh. Well,
Hang on, is it just Milk, or is Milk still stacked on top of 2 other goblins?
Milk is just Milk, and the other goblin whose name I just tucked away for a second as I pull up goblin
Zobai and Milk,
stats.
I think, were the only.
Yeah, so you said a 9
Yeah, 9.
for a total of an 8.
Oh no!
Travis, I'm going to roll an attack for the polar bears.
Yeah,
I'm
no.
going to do that in owlbear. That's a natural 4.
Hell yeah.
So Milk doesn't get his arm ripped off as he goes to feed a polar bear and doesn't bleed out and die in the snow.
Damn.
That's how vicious these polar bears are. Deadly, y'all.
Yeah.
And so for Travis's sake, it's going to require some decently successful animal handling checks to feed these bears and not get mauled by them.
That's fine. I can do that.
Aren't polar bears like one of the only predators that don't consider humans a threat at all?
Beats me, man.
Like, I'm pretty sure that's how dangerous they are.
They're fucking...
I'm gonna be trying to toss the food if that helps any.
Go ahead. I'll just make you roll once. Make an animal handling check for me.
Why did I roll another 5? That's a 9?
Can I assist?
Sure. So do it with advantage. Travis, roll it again. Roll better.
Okay, roll better, he says. How about worse? Nah, I got a dirty 20.
Okay.
I was about to say.
Louis is wise, but he apparently doesn't know much about animals.
You feed them. You placate these polar bears. You calm them. You feed them, and they seem to listen a bit better. They respond a bit better. So in response, Izobai gives you a 1 potion of animal friendship.
That's really nice.
I'll toss some dried meat to the wolves, because I
Yeah.
clocked that they were looking not
They're
great
looking good
either.
too. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Potion of animal friendship. Wait, these fuckers have a potion of animal friendship and they're about to get their arm chewed off?
Yeah, and Izobai even says, like, I have an extra.
Dope.
So, polar bears fed, wolves fed, things exchanged. Any other, you made your final remarks to the goblins.
I gave them good berries. I don't know.
Yes, you gave them good berries to feed on, and they start to take a sort of a circuitous route through 10 towns. That way they can get as far as they can, and then stop and start doing some shopping with that 20 gold.
Cool.
Gonna be high rollers.
I did. I mean, is it smart for me to pull out an animal from the?
Oh shit! I forgot about that. What was your purpose for doing that?
To see if there's an animal that I could possibly be like, hey, look, an animal. They could feed on it.
a snow chicken.
I mean, one of the options is a panther. So.
Snow. I mean, yeah. Which,
Don't roll a panther.
so, if I recall,
Oh, they're friendly to me. I don't know if I should really.
Pasture.
they're friendly
Yeah,
to
you're gonna bring these creatures into the world and then immediately betray them.
Yeah, and Travis, as a note, in the bag of tricks, there's the qualifier that says the creature vanishes at the next dawn or when it is reduced to 0 hit points. So if they kill it to eat it, it's gone.
Okay, never mind
If they
then.
eat it alive.
They keep reviving it to keep eating on it.
That's so
That's horrifying.
Every second is pain.
It's just a heart connected to a head and brain, and that's it. They've eaten everything else.
Why did they let me feel pain? It's not essential to my existence.
That should be a qualifier for any of like these conjuration spells or magical items. Is like the creatures don't feel pain.
For sure. Like, actually, legitimately.
So you feel better about summoning shit from other planes and being like, here, die for me, thanks.
Oh my god.
So, with that, you guys, iron sled in tow, your dog sled, you set out away from the Dwarven Valley, away from the goblins, and to be honest, just to be perfectly honest, you do that awkward thing of you and the goblins head in the same direction for several miles, except you're a couple 100 feet apart, so you can still see each other, but you're not close enough to make conversation, so it's really awkward for several hours of your journey.
Incredible.
Occasionally you hear one of them yell like, Marco!
Hello. Ah, you got me.
They like, yeah, you just kind of like occasionally will yell back. There's one point where you get close enough and you swear you see Milk mooning you from the top of one of the wagons.
Magical.
Milk? More like milk.
Yep. No, that's a Zobai. Zobai's the milk. But eventually, after however many days of travel, we won't roleplay through all the different stops you may need to make for the sake of brevity. But you head back to Bryn Shander, and we'll take a little quick break and refill in toilet cat and stuff like that. Aye. So we'll be back in a momentarily. It's already 9:40.
Correct.
Really?
We're here. Yeah, no, right? We didn't start till like 8:30, so we're fine. I appreciate that all of Joka's messages are just rolling, laughing, crying emojis. That's that gives a real good tone of this campaign.
I feel like this one is definitely way more dumb sometimes. I feel like sometimes
it's half and half.
Yeah.
I feel like with like Shar Knights, it was like a 75-25, maybe 70-30 split. This one's like a good 50-50.
That's true.
Or at least I try to make it a good 50-50. I think I lean more toward the funny side because there's some parts of the campaign that are just like, just not fun. So I'm like, we'll make it fun for now.
We'll have the funny now so that when it gets super serious and dark and depressing
insane later, yeah, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
So, you guys trek. Oh, I guess I should change the music while I talk about this. You guys trek back across the Arctic, across the snow. Let me jump over actually to a map because I want to see. I don't think you guys actually have to go too far. It's a little more straightforward, and in fact, you guys could take a hard cut over to one of the main roads near Tourmaline and follow along the main road. to make it a significant amount easier. It'll still take you a good chunk of the day to get there, and in fact, I could even look to see exactly how long in case you want to stop and rest, or if you want to push through the night, or not through the night, but into the evening and get there a little bit later. Bryn Shander to Tourmaline is 6 hours, so in fact, it's a perfect amount of time. You may exhaust yourselves just a little bit, you may push your sled dog just a hair too far, but with some rangers in your party, people who are good with animals, access to spells, you can get your dogs there the rest of the way. So you get in Bryn Shander later in the evening, probably close to 7 o'clock or so. For the people pulling the oar, you imagine, Bryn Shander is, as a reminder, I don't want to read all of the text about it, but as you can see according to the map, Bryn Shander is the first stop for outsiders entering into 10 towns. So it's a bigger town. There's plenty of inns and bars and general stores at people's disposal. People are fairly nice in Bryn Shander as opposed to some of the further out towns, and it's more well protected like a lot of the other towns. It's sort of, I mean, I'm sure Wynn would probably say it's the best town of all the 10 towns right now as far as where he's been. It's got everything. It's got a Taco Bell Pizza Hut combo. It's got everything. Now,
What about the Taco Bell Pizza Hut KFC combo?
Well,
Have you
they've only
guys-
got those down south, though.
okay, so I gotta ask, have any of you ever been to a KFC buffet?
Yes.
How is Jacob? Please tell. I see them
have.
when I'm on like road trips, and I want to stop, but there's always the part of me
They're-
that's like, don't.
So no, the thing is, when you think of KFC, like I'm sure people have mixed opinions about KFC, but when you think about KFC,
KFC's
you're
not
like,
bad.
okay,
It's pretty good.
the
not
chicken's,
bad.
yeah, the chicken's okay. Like the biscuits are a little dry, but they're right. Their mac and cheese is pretty good.
Mashed potatoes,
The
gravy,
thing is, a
good.
buffet, the buffet does not have like the good stuff on it, from my experience. It's been a long time since I've been, but they have their chicken, and then they have like green beans, and then some random vegetables. They don't have the mac and cheese on the buffet. They don't have like a lot of other things on the buffet. But it's been a while since I've been. I think it'd be worth trying it once again just to see. But
I mean, buffets in general are inherently gross.
well, the thing
and
is,
bad.
you trade quality for quantity.
guess.
Correct.
Unless it's an Indian buffet.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
it's
That's
just a
true.
little
That's fair. I remember. I think I was only able to go to Mint once with you guys for the buffet, and I was so impressed. It was so delicious. It was
I
amazing.
was blown away, honestly.
Yeah.
The first time I had mint, I was like, "What? This has been here the whole time?
Yup.
I've never been here before."
Especially for like the brunch buffet, man. That was.
Mm.
Anyway,
Bottomless
Jesus.
mimosa.
Oh, that was the
right?
best part. That was the
Bottomless
best part.
mimosa.
No, it wasn't the best part.
I know brunch is like a super like upper middle class white people thing, but damn, bottomless mimosas at brunch?
Yeah, when it's like what, with tip like $17.
How can you beat that?
Yeah, bottomless mimosas, as much food as you can eat. You go like maybe once a month. Great time.
Definitely feasible. You know,
Worth
you
it.
skip going to cookout a couple times a week, you got your
Yo.
brunch money. Sounds like
Yeah.
quitter talk.
It does.
It does sound like quitter
That sounds
talk.
like quitter talk to me.
We
Carson and I stopped at a random ass White Castle on the way up to Illinois. I am not afraid of anything anymore.
White
That
Castle.
that was a tale of it was a dichotomous experience. The food was surprisingly good.
Yeah.
The vibes were rancid.
White Castle is so sketchy feeling. You're like, there are definitely drugs underneath these
Yeah,
tiles in
fucking-
here.
Oh yeah, 100%.
A White Castle off the interstate at like 7 o'clock on a Friday. You know a restaurant is great when like you go up to the counter and there's no employees there, and then like one of them finally notices you and kind of has that like video game NPC noise of like, huh?
A little exclamation point shoots up in their head.
Just like, damn bitch, you eat here?
Y'all want White Castle that bad?
Yeah, I think
Like
we
it's not even stoned person hours
We
yet. What are you
we
doing
gave
here?
y'all an out. We gave you an out and you stuck it with it.
I think we stopped there on like the Vanilla Envelope tour because I think we stopped on like the first White Castle like outside of like Boone that's in like Kentucky or something. It's like the closest one to
That's
the Boone
where
area.
we
Jacob and I looked it up. We looked it up when we were in Boone. We're like, where's the nearest White Castle?
It's
and
in,
it was
like,
in fucking Kentucky.
I remember stopping there. We were all like kind of super pumped. We're all these college musicians, like getting super cheap burgers, and then we all ate them. We were all so underwhelmed, and like we were like, "All right, we're not gonna stop for that again."
See, I think I had tempered my expectations so much based on the rancid vibes. It's that I was just like, you know what, this is pretty good.
I consistently ate the frozen White Castle burgers from the market and the
Oh,
Wheel
okay.
of Death.
Yes.
And so that was my reference, and I got the burgers at actual White Castle, and my response was, it tastes the same. It's the same thing. There's no difference between the ones in the Wheel of
Oh.
Death in Broyhill at App State University
That's
than
a
the
really
ones
good
here.
feeling.
Is that true?
It was at that time. It might be a little different now.
That's why I was just like, okay, I'd heat them up, I'd break them open, and I would just fucking mustard. You can't taste anything else. I
You
just
just
taste the
gotta-
mustard, and I get something on my stomach, and that's all I need.
Calories, carbs,
Yes.
that's all you
Correct.
need.
Mhm.
I gotta make it till dinner. That's fine. Anyway. Oh, Bryn Shander, you guys arrive in the...
So White Castle, huh?
Yeah, you get to the White Castle in Bryn Shander. This place got everything. As a sort of a re-up. Again, Bryn Shander is one of the largest towns. It's got everything. People are nice. They've got all sorts of businesses that you can shop at. You have not met the town speaker, but you do know the Sheriff Markham Southwell, who actually was the one that brought this job up to you initially. But the actual people that you need to see are some affiliates in Clan Battlehammer, who are affiliated with Black Iron Blades. You get into town, and of course, there's a little bit of, you need to find a place to stay for the night. You need to make sure you get to the inn that you need to stay at and all sorts of stuff. So there's a little bit of time before you can actually meet with people. But, Jacob.
Yes.
Xavier is not here, so unfortunately he is not in the part of this, but it'll still benefit you. Do you remember the Lantern of Revealing that you got in your Session 0? That
The one that like it's like spirit essence.
it turns green or it turns a different color when exposed to elementals, and around you it glows sort of a dim color. So Xavier took it, Wynn took it, kept it on his person. You notice, Wynn is a voiceless NPC right now, that the lantern lights up. Not just the dim color that usually is, it lights up. And a few moments pass as you guys are trying to figure out where you need to go and who you need to visit, and you hear a voice call out in sort of the darkness of the dim light of evening here in Bryn Shander down the street. You say, I don't know how I knew that, but glad to see you're still kicking it around. And you look, and if you recall, the half-elven scholar in your sessions here, Danica, who is now sort of the supervisor and babysitter of the Chewinga Carlton that you named. You look up to see Danica Greyseal in her winter clothing waving at you from down the street. She says, look out! And you feel Carlton's little tiny legs and arms and little straw garb grab onto your face. And just hold on and give you sort of a face hug.
Well, hello there, Carlton. It's good to see you again.
He hops down and sort of like lands on your shoulder and starts to dance.
I dance too.
Yeah, start dancing together. And eventually Danica catches up and she says, jeez, and it's this scholarly woman. She's wearing glasses with a scarf, her hood pulled up. But you see your ears kind of poking out a little bit. Says, I don't know how he knew it, but he's been acting fidgety all afternoon. It's like he knew you were coming into town. So eventually when he started trying to open the door to the inn, I obliged him, and, well, here you are. So, but I'm glad to see you're still alive, and you've made some friends, it looks like. So, Ventus, how have you been? What have you been up to the past couple days?
Well, we've been having our fair share of adventure. But first, let me introduce you to my friends. This is Gil, Casimir, Louis, and you know Win, of course. And then this is Norm.
And she sort of briefly pulls down her scarf so you can sort of get her appearance. And introduce herself. She is a half-elf, Danica Greysteel. Sort of a mousy, tan skin woman. You can see that she is a tan skinned person who has not seen the sun in several days or weeks, so she's starting to pale a little bit. But you know, she kind of awkwardly introduces herself and sort of explains, says, I'm here with I'm a researcher, and actually, she turns, completely forgetting her train of thought that she was just introducing herself to people. She turns to Ventus and says, actually, there's another researcher apparently not too far from here, one of the other 10 towns who's doing research as well, and I'd love to meet. Oh, and turns back to the rest of you. I was doing research into Chwingas. And she points to the one that's basically doing the Carlton dance on Ventus's shoulder. I was doing a little bit of research on Chwingas. They have a unique magic and a bit of folklore, and they exist in other parts of the world. And apparently I had heard some in Icewind Dale, and I came to research at Ventus and Wind. They helped me track one down, and now they seem to have made an impression on this one. Carlton is his name. Carlton waves to the people, and Carlton waves. Some snowflakes drift off of his hand as he waves. And most of you have heard of Chwingas, but in the epitome of a folklore fashion. Like, they don't exist. They're not real. People just blame things on Chwingas as sort of like a offhand, like, you know,
they have a run-in with the Chwinga
Yeah,
in the Cragcat cave.
Louis did.
I did.
Oh, Louis
We were
did. Okay,
unconscious.
we were
Yeah.
not conscious for that.
And Louis said, like, yeah, I think this thing happened. So you guys, again, have sort of a loose familiarity with Chwingas, but you are very rarely now seeing one doing a little dance on Ventus's shoulder. It says, yeah, and they just made an impression on this one, and, well, you know, good for me. I can research him and ask him questions and things like that. But he's a bit of an oddball. And looking at the big sled of iron ore, says, "Oh, you did that job? Yeah, they were asking around, actually just this morning, seeing if someone else would be willing to do the job. They thought you had abandoned it. You'd been gone for several days. Actually, I think, let me actually flip back to Bryn Chanter here real fast, because I flipped away. I made a boo-boo. Yes, she points you toward the Northlook Inn and Tavern on the far side of town. She says, actually, I think they're at the Northlook right now. She looks at Ventus. Ventus, we're friends, right?
Yes.
So, I don't know how to really say this politely. I think those dwarves who lost this sled of iron, I think they're just drinking their sorrows away at the Northlook. They're not doing great. They're a bit pitiful, so I think this will cheer them up and put them in a good spot.
Well,
So lost this iron, get killed. I whispered to Gil.
Repeat that. I did not hear what you said.
Didn't the dwarves who lost this iron get killed?
Yes.
Yes, but
Yeah, so like one or two of them died, the rest managed to escape.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was. Let's see. Their buddy Ubak, which is the guy's, dismembered body we found. Yeah, that guy.
Oh.
He got fucking.
We didn't bring his body back, did we?
No, we did not.
Well, we didn't go to the actual place. We didn't get there.
You
We
okay, so
Well,
as a
we found
reminder, you found the body, but it was mostly just arms. And
Yeah, it's mostly
and
just.
It was not the full body.
So, but they also told me when they asked me to help them that Ubak was literally ripped limb from limb by Yetis.
Yetis.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's just kind of like we don't expect you to find much other than parts,
Yeah.
if that. So
Danica, and she asks some questions. You kind of catch up a little bit about what you've been up to. She tells you that people have actually spoken about you guys. You've kind of the music is still a little dramatic for what it needs to be. My bad. It's not necessarily like, people are calling you heroes and saviors, but people heard about, trying to help the people of East Haven. And it seems as though you have not been gone long enough for word of the magical food cauldron to catch wind. But at the very least, word of you trying to do good has spread around to at least like the people trading between the 10 towns. And so, at the very least, people recognize you as a group, maybe by name in certain circles. Excuse me. So you really starting to get a good reputation. And maybe a little bit of odd for people like Gil and Casimir, who have definitely operated in sort of this like individualistic like job position, almost like of guiding people, saving people as a mercenary. Now you're sort of in this group who is people know you and recognize you and are not viewing you as monster slayer and this hermit who guides people through the snow, but now as people who are coming to do good. A little bit of a different tone about you and your lifestyle. Good soundtrack here. There we go. So we'll see how this sounds. It may be horrible. Flying by the seat of my pants. But you guys head across Bryn Shander to the Northlook Inn. Now, for the sake of brevity, you were hired by 3 dwarves. Names not terribly important, but if you want to remember them, one is Bruna. Bruna is missing an ear and a couple fingers to frostbite, and habitually smokes cigarettes and cigars. The second is Korux, who sits there quietly, lost a lot of their fingers and toes, and even their nose to frostbite. The Korux sits there very quietly, almost eerily, without a nose. And finally, Storn, who is a bit of a heavy drinker, and Gil, in the brief time that you were speaking to these dwarves to get this job, Storn had this weird habit of, while he was talking to you, he would look over your shoulder the whole time. Almost as if someone were behind you, and you kind of glance over your shoulder, nothing was there. He kind of had those weird little habits like that. Occasionally look up at the sky or look behind him. A little bit of a weird dude. But you eventually meet them at the Northlook Inn. Now, if you recall from your first time in Bryn Shander, I don't think Alan was there for this. But this is where you had your bar fight
Ah, yeah.
in the in-person session. So you walk in, it's maybe 8 o'clock. You know, people are starting to filter in, going in for evening drinks, whatever it might be. Lots of mercenaries and adventurers who are stopping through. People spreading gossip and talking to one another, playing games. You see, does anyone remember the owner's name?
Oh. I have it somewhere. Hang on.
Give you advantage on your next roll. Whatever your roll is, you'll have advantage if you remember his name.
At the North Look.
At the North Look Inn and Tavern of Brinch.
I did not write down the owner's name.
Hang on. Northlook.
Also sort of the bartender.
Oh no. I think I may have missed writing it down.
It's a pretty bad name. It's real rough. Got jagged edges. As far as names go.
It's not. No, Bardavan was the innkeeper in East Haven.
Yeah, the only name I wrote down for this.
I know,
was
this is a deep
Se-
cut. This was our in-person session in August? Is that when that was?
Oh, and I wasn't using my Google Doc, so it's not.
Alright,
Oh.
so
notes.
we will skip on ahead. The inn's owner, you see, a human grizzled man who you know as Scramsax.
Ah,
Damn it! I found it at the bottom.
There it is.
Scram Shack. Gerald
Scrams-
S. Balding, well-muscled proprietor.
Yes. Obviously, a retired adventurer in his own right. You see, he looks at you as you walk in, but he sees plenty of adventurers and mercenaries that come through. But he gives you sort of a look, a nod. He picks up a tankard of beer that he's drinking, which he shouldn't be drinking on the job. He owns the place, but he's doing it anyway. And then you finally see the 3 dwarves of the Battlehammer clan. For the sake of brevity, they are surprised, grateful, and drunk regarding this job. They definitely assumed it was a dead end at this point. They didn't know what happened to you guys. Storn is drunk enough at this point that Norm will say, because Alan's been quiet for a moment.
Hey.
Storn grabs your shoulder. So if you can imagine, you're facing him. He grabs your left shoulder to kind of focus you in on him. Make eye contact. You can smell the beer and liquor on his breath. But then he looks over your shoulder like he's looking at someone else. And says, "Hey, we thought you left. Yeah, we thought you were gonna. We thought you were gonna do this, and you seemed real strong. And then we heard about all the stuff you were doing at East Haven, and it made us real sad. We thought you had left us, so I'm sorry. We thought we tried. He licks his lips real wet. He gets some drool in his beard.
He grabs the only person that wasn't there.
Yeah,
with the food.
you have no idea what he's talking about.
Looking at something, I kind of like slowly, gradually shift my body so that he can make eye contact with me.
You shift your body, and it almost disrupts his balance, and he sort of teeters on the stool he's sitting on, grabs onto you, and says, What did you see? What did you see? Something there?
You're here.
We didn't think you'd do it, but you did."
We did it, friend.
He leans into your big furry chest.
I'll hold him and pat him.
And eventually, Gil, Pruna, sort of the leader of this little trio, one missing an ear, meets up with you, Gil, and says, I'm glad you made it back. We really didn't. We thought you'd abandoned it, especially since you went off to East Haven and started doing some work. We heard about all the stuff you do, which good stuff. We appreciate, and actually, we have some gemstones that we recovered originally in that first operation. We can give you. We'd also like to pay for your drinks for this evening. We'd love to sit and drink with you for a bit, if you don't mind.
I'm fine with that. As a note, you can go ahead and give any extra drinks you would have given me to my friends. I don't drink.
He turns to Scramsack. Scramsack sort of gives a nod. He just quietly. You get the vibe that Scramsack's just like, yeah, whatever, sure. But then the moment passes for a second. Haruna turns back to Scramsack and says, "Hey, but no." Then turns back to Gil, and then it turns to Ventus for a second, then turns to Kaz, then turns back to Scramsack and says, no mead. Scramsack's told me that good mead has stopped all of their shipments, and it's expensive as fuck. So no mead, just potato liquor and beer."
Alright.
Mead has stopped their shipments.
Scramsack speaks up and says, yeah, the roads have gotten too bad, and they can't make any shipments by water anymore, so yeah, good mead is a town. All the good mead meaderies are down and not sending any deliveries, and gotta ration off what we have. Any high rollers coming through, I want to make sure I can pinch whatever gold I can from them.
Understandable.
But in the meantime, Gil Bruna drunkenly passes you a pouch marked with specifically. It took me a while to realize this after reading this chapter like 1,000 times. A very simple sort of cloth pouch with the symbol of a mug of basically a mug of beer that's like foaming over the side, and that's a symbol of Clan Battlehammer. Bruna hands that to you, gives you a hearty as fuck handshake. And when you open it up a moment later, it is a pouch of 6 bloodstones, these sort of opaque red stones that are worth 50 gold pieces each.
Bad.
And Gil, remind me, how many spirit points do you have for your bow?
I have 4 total. 1 is used.
When Hruna grabs your hand in this big, hearty, dwarven handshake, you are taken out of this room. You feel warm air around you, but then a cold breeze hitting your skin, and then it sort of switches, warm breeze and then cold air, clouds or mist, fog, something swirling around you. And just like you saw previously with these multiple paths branching out from you in the shape of arrows, there was the one that had the town master from East Haven and the captain of the guard and various other citizens. Another one. The fog disappears, the silhouettes become clear, and you see these 3 wounded, missing ear, missing fingers, missing nose, these 3 dwarves with almost a silhouetted crowd of dwarves behind them. But you see them, despite their now disfigurements from this Yeti attack, have a bit of a grin on their face, clinking, foaming tankards together. And for a brief moment, you feel as if you're clanking your tankard with them, cheering with them, having this sort of jubilation for a brief moment, and you are brought back to the present with a burning sensation on your chest and another spirit point.
He will wait to inspect the mark on his chest until later.
Yep.
But just to verify in his brain.
And on top of the gemstone reward, the Battlehammer clan will also, because they are affiliated with the Black Iron Blades, they'll also give you a disc. Oh Jesus! Smack the.
How do you hear the word discount?
Sorry, yes, a discount on goods bought at Black Iron Blades. Now, those of you who are native to the 10 Towns area, Black Iron Blades isn't good.
No.
They do not make high quality blades, but they're also sort of part general store, so you can at least get a discounted amount of general supplies. But there's sort of an ongoing gag that when someone dies in the wilderness, people comment and say, and they had a Black Iron Blade too. Like, it's sort of their weaponry is a gag almost to 10 Towns. But
It's the weapon equivalent of Harbor Freight.
basically. But, you know, if you need to stock up on general things, get a robe, an extra pack, whatever else, you can get the Black Iron Blades for at least a little bit of a discount. In the meantime, you can drink, be merry, meet with these dwarves, meet with other people in Brynchander, Danica, Scramsack, meet with the sheriff, whoever else. Carson, you have your hand up.
Whoop. I would like to inquire with the dwarves drinking here as to the particular circumstances of them losing this iron.
From what they describe, it's a story you've probably heard about several times. Abrupt Yeti attack in the middle of the snow. They were least expecting it. Blaming one of their own for a meal, threatening to claim others. As the folks who are being attacked, they don't remember all too much, or at the very least you get the vibe that they don't view Yetis as being the sentient beings that you do, or to the same degree. So they assume that it was some basically a starving monster that was searching for them.
Do I have a description? Did they give me a description of this particular Yeti?
Here, and I will let you know. It seems as though the Yeti that they describe was not an adult Yeti. It was seemingly a child, teenager, young adult that likely got separated from parents and just attacked and fed on whatever was nearby. Not necessarily like a baby or anything, like grown enough to do enough damage, but nothing with a pack or a family to back it up.
Okay. And that's about the extent of the information I get.
Yeah, they said that it was only one that attacked them, and that's usually the most common thing. Occasionally, like a stronger, more crazed Yeti will make an attack, but that's a little more rare.
Gotcha.
And honestly, as far as Yeti strength goes, if a full-blown, full-grown crazed, hungry Yeti went after these dwarves, more of them probably would have died in the attack rather than just one. So.
Mhm.
Okay. What, Alan?
Flashback.
Did you? So if I. Oh, Carson, that's all you, buddy.
Oh.
With your question that you just asked, flashback, specifically a memorable encounter with a Yeti.
All right, let me. I had my notes from fucking a year ago, out for these particular.
It honestly, it feels like we finished Sharn Nights like yesterday. It doesn't feel that long ago. It's so crazy.
Cool. Yeah. So Casimir is sitting in the bar listening to this, and camera pans in. It's kind of just a blank expression is on his face, but there's something alight in his one good eye, and let's zoom in. Years and years ago, we see a much younger Casimir, not quite so grayed around the edges, both eyes burning and with this kind of bright icy blue, intact, fangs not yellowed with age, ears intact, not quite so bundled up. If an Icewind Dale of years ago, before Arl brought her wrath down upon it, and he is he hunched behind a snowbank with two other Yeti by his side, and one is younger, looking to be about the same age as Casimir, and the other is a good bit older, and seems to be some sort of kind of like mentor figure to the other two. And speaks them in Yeti, as they watch like a pack of these like ice boar, or which I think I described in my character introduction, Casimir hunting, kind of this stunted version of them that as food sources have become more and more scarce, their size has dropped, whereas these are like these almost like dire boar size things in a pack, just kind of snuffling around in this clearing, and the older Yeti turns and to me and the younger one and goes, "Casimir, Atyum, are you listening? Are you watching? You must learn how to do these things on your own. This land provides for us, but you must know. You must know how to work with it. It is a symbiotic relationship, a give and take, an ebb and flow." Hey, and you can see Casimir and Atyum are just kind of like snickering. He fucking smacks them both on the head. Oh! All right, Vladimir. All right, we're listening. He goes, all right. The boar. They travel in packs. Their hearing is quite good, but their eyesight is very poor. So you must learn how to move silently. They will not be able to see you until you get very close, at which point you strike. One moment can make the difference between you and your kin going hungry and everyone being fed. The land feeds the boar feeds us, we die, we feed the land. It all comes in circles.
Circle of life.
Yeah. And so
Everything the light touches.
yes, thank you, Jacob.
Simba.
So this older Yeti, like directs Casimir and Atium, and just kind of this pincer movement, and they both kind of silently creep along, and like Casimir's about to take a step, and like a long paw like darts out and stops him. Turns, looks, just points to the ground, and sees just barely visible is a branch just waiting to be broken. And he nods. And then both swing around, get closer and closer. And then Vladimir gives this kind of like, and they pounce in, and as the boars immediately start squealing and start running away. Casimir and Atcham both grappling like a mid-sized boar to the ground, and doing as instructed, just slicing through an artery and holding it there until it loses its strength and bleeds out. And then they kind of look at each other and go like, "Yeah, fucking did it! Woo!" And like walking up is Vladimir, just with a boar like 3 times the size just slung over his shoulder. Just goes like, "All right, young ones, celebrate now. Give it a few winters, you may be able to catch up to me." And they all just kind of laugh and clap each other in the back and start carting these carcasses back. And then back to the present, and just kind of a single frosty tear forms at the side of Casimir's eye, and just kind of blinks it away for iron. Very, very cool.
Yeah. Nice. Awesome. So, with that, I'll sort of leave it up to you guys. We can call it there. We can figure out what your next move is. We can instead have a night of drinking games and bar games. Save one of those till next time, whatever it is. Kind of leave it up to you guys because we're kind of at a medium stopping point, decent stopping point.
I'm good with stopping here.
Yeah.
For my benefit, do you guys want to quickly pick up and move on to whatever next thing you want to do, or do you want to sort of stay here, drink, socialize, play games, interact with one another, things like that? Basically have a session of bar games.
Being around. I think it would be cool to spend some time
A little
in the
downtime
town
session.
and be able to like give the towns a little more life, and not just run around in between them.
Norm is still swaddling a sleepy storm.
Alright, so yeah, next time then we'll pick up with a couple like socializing encounters, a couple bar games, interact with each other, and then explore Bryn Chandler a little bit, because I think there's even a couple of things you guys haven't seen in here, even though you've spent a couple time here.
Because I know for certain Gil would not participate in the drinking games, because Gil deliberately does not drink, so he'd probably go do something else, I guess, with his time. Or just hang around for a little bit.
So I've given you guys so many different routes to pursue, but there's still so many more you guys haven't uncovered. And I'm like, I don't want to give them too many, but also there's so many cool things in this. I want them to do all the things.
Spoiled for choice.
Anyway, But that is where we'll stop, and theoretically we'll pick up next week. I'll be back in town from wedding, so we should be fine. Figure out, make sure if everyone's good, make sure Xavier can play. I got a thing for him too. Oh, you guys can't miss. I got things for you, specific things for you. I might not be there the next session, but thank you. Let's see who all was here. Let me scroll back up a little bit. Joka! Thank you
I'm
very
the
much,
Joker,
Joka.
baby.
Jesus Christ.
You
Yes,
knew it was coming.
Joka, thank you for being my newest follower and being here before we were even here, and then being here throughout the session. It's freaking awesome. It's always great to have some people laughing at our stupid jokes. Thank you for Emily, of course, as always, for being here. If you still don't want to go to a KFC buffet, then I may stop thanking you. But
Wow.
you know,
We'll do Country Kitchen. It'll be good.
Oh God.
Jacob, what if I get you this next year a KFC gift card for your birthday to take Emily to a KFC buffet?
I mean, I'll use it even if she doesn't want to go. Like,
No, that's the qualifier. That's the redemption qualifier. You have to get her to go.
listen, I don't know about all that.
That's more of a gift for me. I'll get you that for my birthday next year. I'll get you a gift card
That's so sad.
to force Emily to go to a KFC buffet.
Magical.
Thumbs
It's both worse and better than you'd ever imagine.
down. Oh, jeez. So, yes. Be here next week. Thank you to my lovely players. Thank you to Jacob for having a field day today and still playing and staying up till 10:30 for me.
I'm so sunburnt.
Oh
That's pretty
no.
impressive.
Wear sunscreen forehead.
I did.
Wear it harder. I don't understand.
Wear it harder. Rub it in harder.
I'll wear you harder.
Rub
Please.
you harder. All right. Well, all right. On that note, what's the thing we normally say? It's been like a
raise
month.
hail, praise Dale.
Dale.
I guess that's it. All right, do it again.
Chip
Dale,
and
yeah.
You wanted something
Raise.
different. You wanted something different. All right. What did there? See y'all later.